Welcome everyone to our session, our introduction to Dungeons and Dragons for the TLDC chat. Glad you can be here with us today. I want to kind of kick us off with just some introductions, and then we'll get into a few of the rules and things that will be needed before we start, and then we will dive into story and do all of that. So my name is Keegan. I am the facilitator for this session, sometimes called a dungeon master or a game master, and that is my role here. So I'll ask if my players will introduce themselves, share your character name, and then maybe a little bit description about your character in short description, maybe either what they look like or their specialization, whatever you feel compelled to share. But I am interested in character names because that is what I will also be referring to you all as. Anybody want to jump right in?
Sure. I'm to the left in my position. I'm Clark Quinn of Quinnovation. In real life, I've been doing learning and technology and design and researching it as well as applying it for past number of decades. We hate to admit how many. And for these purposes, I admit I'm a nerd. I am playing a elf ranger. I always use the name Gonzo in games, so that's the name I'm going to choose. And rangers are, I like to sit at a distance and plink at people and not go face to face and have to actually battle them. I'm an introvert, so I want to go hang out in the woods with the animals. I don't want to actually deal with people. I think that's enough. Who's next?
I can jump in.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I am Deborah Decker. I am the Senior Manager of Learning Experience for a public healthcare plan here in Los Angeles in real life. And for this game today, I will be an elf wizard or a high elf. I'm not sure, Keegan, both names were on there, so whichever one it is. But an elf wizard. I used the name generator that you are probably all familiar with when you have to come up with really normal names, but I found the fantasy button on the name generator, and it said that elf. It gave me a whole bunch of elf names, and I picked Phelan, Feylen, is going to be my elf name, my game name, just because being an elf wizard sounded really exciting.
All right. Awesome. Who's next?
Yeah. Okay, I can go next. Okay, hello, I'm Melissa Coakley. I am the lead learning experience designer for ELB Learning in real life. And here I am a dragonborn fighter. And I'm gonna use the name that came with my sheet because I like it. It's Grim. And I'm not sure if this is a spoiler or not, but I am a criminal. So I know a lot of seedy people in seedy places, which is exciting. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either, if that wasn't clear from my introduction. So it's very much an authentic learning experience for me here.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Who's next?
I can go next. I'm Lita Bledsoe. I am with the 6 through 12 online program. I am the Director of Operations and Learning Strategy. And I picked a half-elf monk as my character. And I go with Litara whenever I need a game name. And I am right there with you, Melissa. This is way outside of my normal wheelhouse. I know it's something my children have done, my husband has done, but I have zero experience. So coming in really cold. I liked the description on the character sheet, and that was kind of my my motivation for picking it. I liked the idea of coming from common folk and kind of being able to hide. I'm also very introverted, and so the idea of being able to kind of hide or rest among other commoners really appealed to me.
Awesome.
I can jump in. My name is Devin Torres. I'm an instructional designer with 280 Group. I'm also a lead at Black and L&D, the research and development lead there. Quick visual description for real life. I am a light-skinned biracial Black woman, natural hair up in a bun, glasses, and black shirt. For this game, I am going to be a half-orc paladin named Tanamar. And apparently I am full of rage against people who do no good to kind people, and I like animals way better than people, similar to Clark. I am also very new to this, so I'm excited to be here.
All right, I'm gonna jump in as another newbie. My name's Jessie, and I am an instructional designer at Southern New Hampshire University, but I don't live in New Hampshire because most of us work remotely. For this, I pulled, look at my notes, and of course my computer is really slow today. So I chose the half-elf cleric, and my gaming name whenever I do anything is usually Neysa, Neysa. I got it from a book forever ago, and I've just held on to it. I made a note. I said, I may be short of stature, but that does not mean I'm short on skill. So that's my character joke for the day. Nice to meet everybody.
Awesome. And I think we just have one more. Oh, Alan, I don't believe we can hear you.
Ta-da!
There we go.
Hi, my name is Alan. I am a learning technology partner with Exact Sciences, a biomedical company, and I chose to be a halfling rogue. The story really got to me, specifically one line: you grew up on the city streets and know how to find quick paths others would miss. So I'm always thinking that way, like, what else can we do? And my name will be Alfredus.
Will you spell that for me?
Too. Alfredus.
Alfredus.
I'll put it in chat. Alfredus.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you, everyone, for those fabulous introductions. I want to kind of give a couple of disclaimers first before we dive into the story, because I recognize that we are all kind of learning together as this is happening. Now, you know, rather than me sharing a whole bunch of information out of context with nothing to tie it to, of course, we're going to kind of dive into play, and I'm going to provide like just-in-time instructions as they come up is what I'm going to do, right? So like we're going to be in the thick of it, learning as it happens. we're not going to go through slides or anything. I'll share like a detail or two before we dive in. But what this means in practice is it is okay not to know all of the rules. Okay, it is completely normal to not know all of the rules. And I'm not going to explain all of the rules all at once. We are going to learn them as we encounter them. Okay, so that's the first thing. Also in practice, just so you are aware, the style of this game is very conversational and somewhat improvisational. So you will tell me what it is that you want to do, that your character would want to do, and then I will help kind of interpret it into gameplay mechanics as necessary, is what will kind of happen in that way. So again, you don't have to worry about the rules. We're not going to cover all of them and such, but yeah, that's not something to be concerned with. With that said, there are a couple things that I do want to mention before we dive in. I'm going to post in chat a link to a virtual dice roller. And this you can use to roll dice, especially if you do not have physical ones. They're dice sets for Dungeons and Dragons are usually 6 different dice or 7 different dice, depending on your set. And the thing that I want to mention in that dice roller is the D20, which is the 20-sided dice, which you would see on that dice roller, is the most kind of important dice. It's what we will roll most of the time, like 90% of the time. So when I ask for a roll to happen, it will most likely be with the D20 dice. Other dice rolls will come into play if we do end up in like a combat mode and you have to roll something for damage or something like that. But we'll pass that bridge when we get to it. So I just want to call out the D20 because that will be kind of where you will be rolling most of the time. Another aspect on your character sheet, there are a couple of details that I just want to call out. Some of you are using the graphical sheets and some of you are using the text ones. But what I want to call out are the ability score modifiers. So the strength, dexterity, constitution, not the scores, but the actual +1, +0, +2, +3, whatever it is on your character sheet. Those will be things that you will reference at a particular point in time during our play session. Additionally, if you will find your armor class and hit points, just so you are aware of where they are on your character sheet, they're usually at the top and kind of center. For those of you using the text-based character sheets, most of your information is in that primary box that's kind of outlined. All right. But we're not going to go over like all the details of spells or all of those things necessarily. So, but it's a-okay. I promise we will get through it. And then the last thing that I want to cover before I'll pause for a moment for questions is we are going to use one kind of what's known as a safety tool, just for the safety of play and our players and topics and things. And that safety tool is just going to be simply pause the game. That is what it's going to be. So in the event we need to pause for any reason, whether it's for a clarification for rules or whether something is like uncomfortable and we want to go in a different direction, pause the game. I will try and keep a lookout on chat for that. But in the event that I do not see it, please speak up and we will pause the game and make any adjustments or changes that we need to do. All right. Any questions from my players before we kind of dive in?
So the scores that you mentioned, the ability scores and the armor class, is this out of what's the maximum? Is it 20? Like the dice?
The maximums won't come into play necessarily for us, but how it will go is those modifiers and things, you will often roll a d20 and add whatever kind of score that modifier is to it, depending on what happens. Some of you will notice too that on the graphical options, there are words under those, like you may see arcana under intelligence or perception under wisdom. Those are things that you are trained in, and those will come up, but I will cover those when we dive in. Those that are using the text-based character sheets, you will see those listed under skills specifically, but I will try and help us go through that when the time comes. But it's a good question. Are there any others before we jump in? All right, then let us dive into some story, into some learning together, and let's see where our adventure takes us. All right. Welcome to Kraven. It's a world of magic and wonder. You are a larger party that is already acquainted with each other, and you are currently on a mission to recover a magical axe, a lost heirloom for a rich and powerful family of halflings in the town of Aramore. There's not going to be a quiz on this, so don't worry. But I do want you to take note that success in this mission of recovering this magical axe, this lost heirloom, means significant gold, equivalent to 6 months worth of pay, and favor of the powerful Bright Willow family. So as you all are traveling down the road, there are open fields that lay on your right-hand side. There is a forest to your left. To start us off, I want everyone to roll for me a wisdom perception check. And what I mean by that is you'll roll your d20 and you will look at your wisdom's modifier and add that. If you have perception listed under your skills or under your wisdom, you'll add that higher value instead. That means you're trained in it. So everyone, we're going to start with a wisdom perception check as you are on the road. And folks can let me know what they get.
Is it better to do that?
Is it a 20
chat?
Sorry.
You can do it either in chat or in speaking. Either way works. And then Lita, what were you saying?
That was my question. Chat or voice, or what's the preferred method?
Yeah. Either chat or voice. It may be easiest in chat for us to do lots of rollings all at once.
But is this a D20?
It is a D20. Yes, it is a D20. Wow. Okay, so we've got some high rolls to start us off. I will say, okay, as you all are walking down the road, everyone that got a 15 or higher, you hear this first. You hear that there are some kind of cries or whines of distress coming from your left-hand side, which is the tree line. It seems to be deeper into the forest. You hear some kind of cries of distress. It doesn't sound humanoid to your ears, but it's something is making some kind of cry of distress. What would you all like to do?
Can I ask a question? Do we have any time constraint on recovering this axe? In other words, do we need to move with alacrity, or do we have time to stop and investigate in the broader picture of the story?
Yeah, I would say you have time. I would say you would know, but the sooner you recover it, always the better. But you probably have time.
Confer with my mates. I'm good in forest. Do we want to send a small team over to look while the others wait to scout it out? Or do we want just me, who has, according to my background, I grew up in the wilds. I can sneak well, I think, if I remember correctly. I can attempt to hide when I'm obscured in the forest. Do you want to just send me, or what would you like to do?
Clark, I will go with you because one of my traits is dark vision, where I can see in dim light within 60 feet of me as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. So If the forest is dark, I can see really well.
I have that too. So maybe
So you don't
that would be a natural partner. And I think safety in numbers is better than, but the rest of you, I should say, Latara and Tanamar and Nyessa and Alfredus, are you comfortable with us, the two of us, going off and investigating? But we would promise not to take any action. We'd come back and report what we found before we do that. Does that sound like a plan?
I do have to acknowledge Peter's suggestion that we should just all die together. Thank you, Peter.
I'm super strong. I can go with you and like breathe fire on them or something if it goes wrong.
Okay, I agree with wanting to check in on those on need. So the main question is, does subset or all of us go? And Peter's weighed in, but I'd love to hear from any of the others. All?
Sounds like we all want to go.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. Sounds good. So you all veer off the path in the direction that many of you have heard because you all rolled so stinking well. And as you kind of make your way deeper into the forest, it doesn't take too long because the sound kind of gets a little bit louder as you approach just in proximity of what this is. And as you approach, you see there a kind of a monstrous creature to some of you. It is a large, you might mistake it as an owl at first, because it has a like an owl-like face and a very pointy beak and these kind of like large, almost eyebrows, much like a great horned owl would be. Except this one does not have any wings. This one is down on 4 enormous paws with giant kind of claws and things. But the thing that you notice as well as you are coming upon this creature is you see one of its legs is currently in a bear trap, and it seems to be the source of these kind of cries of distress. So that is the scene you come upon. What would you all like to do?
What do we know about owlbears in terms of their does any and I won't ask you, Keegan, I'll ask the rest of the members, what do we know about owlbears? And you can figure, we have some knowledge of this world, so Keegan, you may have to fill in here, but a DM, I should say, world god. But what do we know about them in terms of, are they relatively intelligent? Would they recognize we've helped them, or would they be likely to attack us if we freed them? Do we have any of this knowledge?
So I would say you asked a few questions there. I would say anybody that wants to, I'll let folks choose what type of role they want to do here. Those that are interested in kind of the historical information related to owlbears can give me an intelligence history check. So either your intelligence modifier or your history under intelligence if you're trained in that skill. So that's a D20 roll plus that value. Or if folks are curious if this creature may cause you harm based on like looking at it and such, you can give me a wisdom insight check. So that'll be under wisdom and insight, the insight skill. So either of those, just let me know what it is when you roll, because different roles will lead to different information. All right, so we've got a wisdom check of 13, wisdom of 17.
Is that a roll or a raw?
It'll be whatever your d20 roll is plus your value is the number I'll take. Yeah, the combined value. Wow. Okay. So with the 18 intelligence checks as well, we'll start there. So I would say that Alfredus and Latara, you two know in particular that owlbears are actually they're the product of experimentation by mages of old, many hundreds, maybe even thousands of years ago, and they are the fusion of owls and bears together. This one that you look at too looks to be adult in size. Its owl head is probably like maybe 3 to 5 feet in diameter across. So it is a large creature before you. So that's a little bit of what you know from kind of history. Those that were rolling the insight, let me look at those values. I would say with excuse me, Latari, you got an insight of 18. I was reading intelligence. Anyways, with 18 and above for insight, I would say you recognize in this moment that this creature is kind of like, as you all break out of the tree line kind of around it, it seems to be in defensive mode. Like it's trying to show that it is not scared, even though one of its like paws or legs is kind of in this trap that it's in currently. But it's trying, like it's posturing, trying to be bigger than it even is, even though it towers over all of you, probably about 10, maybe 12 feet even in this moment. So I would say with that insight check, you anticipate it's defensive. It might attack you. It's not guaranteed, but it's definitely nervous in this moment. What would you all like to do?
Before we decide, can we have more information about like who would be trying to trap them? Could it be a trap for us? Who else might be around that we need to be aware of?
Ooh, that one I will give you with just your worldly knowledge. So no need to roll for this. You know that there are poachers and things all over the place, these woods and beyond. I would say owlbears are a bit rarer of creatures, so it probably has some value, whether it is that creature specifically, the owlbear that was caught with this bear trap, or whether they're just regular bear traps for regular bears. You're not 100% sure, but definitely poachers and folks around that may be the cause of this.
What are the evolutionary traits we say that these bears existed? They were part of a experimentation. Have they remained the same throughout all the ages, or has there been some traits that have been evolutionized throughout that time?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say they have like diversified a bit over time, to where there are kind of like snowy white feathered ones. This one that you view right now has kind of like more kind of gray, or not gray, brown feathering and such. It blends a little bit more into this kind of landscape. But you would anticipate that they have kind of the species of owl that they are kind of based on has diversified over time.
Given that I think they're somewhat intelligent for some reason, owls are relatively intelligent, bears are relatively intelligent as animal, I'm going to recommend to the group that we approach it very gently, very non-threatening, and try and make clear our intent to set it free. But so we have a few people maybe forward doing that and a few people back with some weapons saying, we're going to try and do this, but if you attack us, we're going to fight. That's a suggestion. Y'all can say yay or nay. Oh, that's a good question, Rebecca. Does anyone have the spell Speak with Animal? I don't have Speak Owlbear.
I don't believe anybody has Speak with Animals, because I don't believe we have a druid in the party that would have access to it. A ranger would at later levels, but not at this moment.
I was gonna say I don't, but I have some curing spell. So perhaps if we were able to, whoever is able to kind of help maybe prompt to release, if I could immediately do a little bit of a cure, then that would help perhaps alleviate any potential attack from the defensive mode.
I have 50 feet of hempen rope at my disposal. That could be something. I don't know how we would tie it up.
Well, I suppose I have martial arts where I can use dexterity instead of strength. And so maybe I could get in and out quickly.
I have this divine sense thing, so I can open my awareness to sense strong evil and powerful good. I mean, do you want to test if it has some strong evil and powerful good?
Let's see.
All
I
of
have
these
high
are-
dexterity.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I have high dexterity, sleight of hand, and sleuth.
All of these are phenomenal ideas. It sounds like some of you have abilities for healing. It sounds like some of you have quickness to maybe get in and out if you need to. Maybe even ways to restrain the creature if need be. All of those kinds of things. Who wants to jump in first with an idea?
I have a spell called Ray of Frost. Would that freeze him?
You would know that it will. Ray of Frost typically does damage to creatures, and then it usually slows them, is what it does. Which you would know in your training as a wizard. Yeah.
So we don't want to do that.
I like Clark's suggestion of kind of approaching slowly. I want to save it. Let's try to save it.
Okay, I don't know what to do here because so my sheet says I'm really strong. I could probably just go in and open the bear trap and save it, but I'm also kind of like a neutral criminal who probably doesn't care much one way or the other if it lives or dies. So that's why I'm just kind of hanging back to see what direction this goes in. My feeling is kind of that if it would make it go quicker and we can keep things moving, maybe I can just open it and let's go. But is that like, this is a question as well. Does that align with my character?
That's totally up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to play exactly as the sheet is. It's totally up to you. I will say, those of you, I don't know if anybody has training in this particular skill, but there is a wisdom animal handling that may be something that could be valuable in this moment. But what I will say for that is not a group role. That would be a person that you would elect to do that, and you could give them help. You can aid as a group together, which will get into what an advantage role is, which we'll talk about if that's what you all decide. But that is something, because you're talking about saving this creature, that you have access to potentially roll and see if you can placate the creature a bit as well.
I do have the animal handling +3.
Oh, okay. Somebody does have it.
Yeah. And apparently I'm chaotic good, so I'll go in there and try to save it.
Okay. So then I will say in that case, Tanmara, if you will roll me a d20 with advantage. Now, advantage is a situation where you will roll your d20 twice and take the higher result before you add it to your skill. And the reason we're doing that is because the group is kind of in alignment to help you with this task.
All right. So my higher roll is a 20.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So with a 20, as you are kind of what does it look like? Like, what is your kind of strategy to calm this creature, to reassure it that you are here to help? Anything like that?
I think, was it Dakota earlier said get a read on the vibes? Try to follow its lead. Be really nice, kind of approach slowly, indicate that I'm here to help, not just a big, scary half-orc paladin trying to help you out.
Okay. Yeah. And as you move in, as you get closer to the creature, you sense that it has like a kind of level of comfort with you. As you kind of like get closer, like it doesn't look like it's going to immediately attack you in that moment. But as you do get closer, and as that does happen, you all hear the breaking of kind of twigs, not where the creature is, but behind you all. And you see entering into this kind of clearing with the rest of you, these shorter creatures that all have kind of like spears and short swords, and some of them have bows. It looks like one of them has this kind of like gnarled looking staff as well that looks both like natural and kind of unnatural. These seem to be a group of goblins that have entered into this space, and they say, you better not touch our catch. What all do you all do in that moment?
Wait, maybe I know them. Am I friends with them? I'm friends with a lot of criminals. If I'm friends with them, that's one thing. But if not, I can just breathe fire on them and burn them all, baby.
I think so. I love it. I want you to. So we're gonna do a luck check, which is not like an official rule. This is just something that I like to do. Roll a d20. Don't add anything to it. If you get we'll say a 15 or higher on your roll, you may know one or more of these goblins.
Okay, 15.
15.
Exactly 15. I promise. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So in that case, you look and you recognize the goblin with the staff. The goblin with the staff, let me pull up the name, is their name is Grub. And they are kind of like a druid and kind of a leader of a goblin clan. You knew them, though, a few years back when you all did a job in the town, and it looks like they have gone either back to rule a clan or something of that nature, but you know Grub.
Okay, then I guess I say hi to Grub. See how they've been. I don't know. Small talk, like I don't know what the etiquette is.
Yeah. Grub looks up at you, and you're like towering over because you're way taller than these goblins. So Grub says to you, Grim, it's been a long time. And says, you weren't trying to steal our catch, were you?
Okay. I don't know what to do. I don't think I have any negotiating or like real soft skills on my sheet at all. So
that's okay. I mean, you
yeah.
can just say whatever comes to mind. Or
yeah, like I think I would say like, dude, the truth is I don't care one way or the other. I'm just trying to get on with my day and and my friends, are doing this thing, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. Anyone want to?
Grub says to you, because we are old companions, I will give you this one opportunity to take your party and leave this clearing without our prize.
How many of them were there, did we say?
Ooh, so as you're kind of like looking around the space and such, you see there are 4 of them that you can see that have come out. So you all are more than the ones that you see, at least at this moment, but they don't seem particularly bothered by that at this moment in time. So
I don't love that tone. But again, I'm also indifferent to this animal. So I would I guess I would say, well, what's in it for us if we let it go? As all my
Yes.
friends are probably horrified
Oh,
that
he's-
I didn't care about the owl bear.
It sounds like he's suggesting that they'll let us, they won't fight us if we let it go. Yeah. If I understood what the dungeon master here was telling us, what his response was, well, as a favor to you, I'll let you go if you don't mess with us. So they're threatening us. The question is, are they bluffing or do they truly have? And now I did also hear him say they didn't seem particularly concerned about them only having 4 versus our number. It's a bluff.
Yeah, that's true too. And I don't know anything about goblins. So I should probably let this play out a little bit.
I bet you if we let it free, that owlbear might help us, particularly with our animal handling person's assistance.
Yeah. Okay, what does everyone else think? Because I know we have animal lovers and people who are, excited to save the animal. So like I said, I could breathe fire on the goblins instead of the bear thing as well. I could go either way, to be honest.
If we take out the goblins, maybe we can earn trust with the owlbear.
I think we got to fight him.
Do we have to do that before we let it go? Why can't we just go let it go and then we'll deal with what happens? Let's focus on what's in front of us and try and get in and out quick. Are they between us and the owlbear?
No, you are between them and the owlbear at the moment.
So who cares what they say? Let's just go and let it go.
Free the owlbear and then we take him out.
Okay.
That's good.
So, Tamara, are you in that moment going to go against their wishes and try and free that owlbear?
Yeah, we teamed up. We're friends now.
Okay. Is anybody helping Tamara in this moment?
Yes, I will.
Okay. So between the two of you, one of you roll me a strength athletics check. So it'll be under strength, or if you're trained in athletics, the skill athletics, you can use that as well.
With 20?
Yes, it'll be a D20. So one of you roll, and I'll let you roll at advantage. So roll twice, take the higher, because somebody is helping the other kind of with this task.
Okay, so I have a +2 on athletics, so my highest is a 13 total.
Okay. And did you rolled single, right?
Well, I rolled twice.
Okay, and took the higher.
And I took the highest. Plus, yeah, and then I have a +2.
So as you two go and you try and pry apart this bear trap that is on the leg of this creature, it's like it's trying to get away while this is happening, because there are a lot of creatures around here, and you can tell like it's got a lot of nervous energy. But as you are like, you forego the goblin's wishes and just are going to release this owlbear, I need everyone to roll initiative for me. So on your character sheet, you will see an initiative value. That is, for many of you, it's in the top right-hand side. If you don't see it, you can just roll a dexterity check, because it should be your dexterity modifier. And we are going to transition into initiative, or kind of like a combat, or like a slower kind of action series that is going to occur. And if you'll post that in the chat. All right. So it looks like
if we can't find initiative on our sheet, we should roll and add what?
Dexterity.
Dexterity. Okay.
Yes. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have folks, it's a little bit harder for me to keep up with this one in chat. So I'm going to have folks give it to me this way. So if you will say what your initiative is, we're going to start with anybody that got a 20 and higher.
I got a 20.
Anybody that got a 15 and higher?
I got a 20 as well.
Okay, 20 as well.
I got a 16.
Okay.
I also got a 16.
Wow, lots of pairs. Okay. Anybody that got a 10 or higher?
Yeah, I got a 14. If I rolled an 11 plus, I have a +3 on dexterity. So
okay.
I'm not quite sure how my original 16 of dexterity matters in any of this.
It determines your +3 modifier, is what it does. So the higher that score, the higher the modifier becomes.
Okay.
But those are specifics that we won't necessarily get into.
Athletics doesn't matter here?
No.
Okay.
And then anybody that got 5 or higher?
I got a 7 + 1 for a modifier, so an 8.
8. Okay. And that is Grim.
Yep.
And then anyone else?
Yes, I had 1 + 3, so I had a 4.
Okay. That's all good. Sometimes that's how the dice roll. All right. And then Grub goes here, and goblins go here. All right. So, Alfredus, in this moment, you see 2 of your companions go against the wishes of these goblins, and you see them, like, they point their weapons, they draw their bows, they are going to attack, but you have the drop on them. What kind of action do you want to do first? There are 4 goblins that you see basically in front of you.
All right, now I'm lost.
You are all good. Let me double check one thing. So on your character sheet, because you have the honor of going first in this moment, you have a let me pull it up. You have a few like weapons at your disposal if you intend to like basically attack them in this moment.
How far away am I away from my crew and orcs?
Yes. So you are, we will say you're right next to your party, except for the owlbear and the 2 folks helping your owlbear, which are about 10 to 15 feet behind you. In front of you, the goblins are only like 15 feet away, so you will be able to move up to them with ease in this moment.
Short sword.
Okay. All right. So you pull your short sword and you charge forward. Are you attacking Grub or one of the nameless goblins so far at this moment?
Take out Grub.
Okay. So you charge towards Grub in this moment. Go ahead and roll for me a d20 plus your +5 modifier for your short sword.
Ouch. 3, 8 total.
8 total. So as you charge forward and try and take a swing at Grub, you watch as like all of the goblins like move almost in uniform to allow Grub to like move through and back and out of the way. And Grub escapes your kind of swing in that moment. So you do not deal damage to him, but you are right there, right up next to them at this moment. All right. We'll kind of go a little bit quick through this just because initiative is a slower kind of time, like more bullet time in terms of gameplay, but I recognize that it takes real world time to move through. So let me see. So next in our initiative order is Phelan. What would you like to do in this moment as you see Alfredus charge forward and try and take out Grub?
So I have things like an acid splash, a firebolt. I mean, how much do we want to damage the goblins?
Yes.
We want to damage the goblins? Jazz hands.
Or like, that's a good question. Is it just Grub to make a point, or do we need to,
If you take out
kill
the
them all?
leader, sometimes they'll run.
Yeah.
So looking at your character sheet too, the one thing that I will say for Phelan, let me see. So for Phelan, High Elf Wizard. So you have a couple of things at your disposal. You have some spells. Probably your most damaging spell, if you want to deal like some serious damage, will probably be Magic Missile, is what it is. And you can only cast 2 leveled spells, is what they're called. So they're 2 first level spells per day. So this would be like big magic that you are expending if you want to do so in this moment.
And the magic missile would take out just Grub or all the goblins?
You are unsure. You can target one person and focus fire, or you can target 3 people with less damage. So it shoots forward these like little darts, these like arcane missiles at a target. The good thing about it, though, is it automatically hits. It's one of the only spells that just automatically hits.
Okay. So can I ask my companions for advice as to, should I take out 1 or 3?
Well, what are goblins like? Are they super loyal and they'd be mad about it, or would they just get scared and run away?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say with your passive knowledge, your passive intelligence in this moment, that you all would know that they are... they look up to folks in powerful positions, folks that can help guide them often from the goblins that you've seen. So they have like more of that kind of like pack mentality sometimes of where they will look to a leader to make decisions before they kind of evaluate what the correct course is. So yeah.
So I probably just want to send all the power right at Grub.
Okay. All right. in that case, I need you to roll for me. So it's a weird dice. You're going to roll the D4 is what you're going to roll. So that in your dice roller is the green one on the left-hand side, and you'll roll 3 of those is what you'll do. And tell me what your total value is.
All right. I got a 4. I got a 1. And a 3. So 8 total.
Okay. And just so you are aware, you get to add +3 to it. So you deal 11 damage in this moment as you let forth these arcane bolts, and they kind of swerve around, like Alfredus sees them enter his view and slam into Grub in this moment, and Grub like stumbles back in surprise as this happens because he was not anticipating that. All right, awesome. So you cast a spell in this moment, Phelan. Let's see. It is Grub's turn. He did not like that. He did not like that. He is going to rush forward, is what he's going to do, and he is going to cast a spell. So, in this moment, Alfredus, because you are up close, Grub is trying to reposition, and he is going to leave your combat area, which means you can take what's known as an attack of opportunity, because he is leaving just like next to you in the area, basically. So if you want a free attack in this moment, you can attack him.
All right, let's finish this.
Okay. Roll me another D20 plus 5.
Let's see, D20. Ouch. 2, 7.
As you try and take another swipe at him, he rushes back a little bit too fast, and as you swing, like you catch a little bit of his clothing, but it doesn't seem to deal any damage to him in that moment. And now you're left side by side with 3 other goblins that like all turn to you in unison as you've taken the swipe at Grub. Grub rushes forward.
You can see me now.
Grub rushes forward, and he is going to cast his big spell, because so I'm going to need from several of you what is going to be a Constitution saving throw. So let me double check. So the folks that are helping the owlbear are out of the range of this. So Tamaran, Litara, and Alfredus is also out of the range of this. So Phelan, Nasa, and Gonzo, and Grim, I need you to all roll a d20 and add your Constitution saving throw value. So there's a little box that should have Constitution saving throw. If you don't see that box, you'll just add your Constitution value, is what you'll add for me.
Say that again. So we add not just the modifier, we add it to the score?
So you'll roll and add to the modifier, the Constitution modifier. Yes.
Okay.
And if you have a section for saving throws, which is often under like the like for some of you it'll be under your hit points and things, you may have a bonus there depending on your class. But if you 4 will roll for me. Wow, so 18, 21, 15 or 14.
No, sorry, that's 15. It's 14 plus 1.
Okay. You all of you save in this moment. So as Grim comes forward, he takes his gnarled staff and slams it into the ground, and this thunderous wave of energy slams out from him. Because you saved, you will only take half of this damage. So rather than taking 10 damage, you will only take 5 apiece in this moment. Um, so, so you can just, whether you want to keep that written down in notes or anything, I'm sure it will come up in a moment, depending on what you all do next. But that is Grub's turn. We are to Nasa. What are you doing in this moment?
All right, so we've taken our damage, and then so now it's my turn to figure out what we're doing, right? Okay.
Yes. What are you doing
right.
in this moment? Yes.
Okay, so I do have some healing spells and some other ones on here that I don't know if they would be helpful in this moment. We've got something called Sanctuary and Shield of Faith, besides some other healing ones. So I'm a little curious as to what some of them might do.
Yeah, and you have the Cure Wounds is something you have that restores hit points. Sanctuary keeps others from attacking a target. And the other one you said was Shield of Faith. Shield of Faith provides like a magical shield that helps reduce the probability of somebody being hit. But in this moment, you have many wounded creatures around you. You have your companions, and you have this owlbear as well that is also wounded. And I mean, Grub has taken a lot of damage too, but I don't know that you want to heal Grub.
So what if we healed the bear and then maybe he would help us? What do we think? Because we haven't taken a lot of damage. We took a little bit of damage. I don't know. Thoughts? That's where I'm leaning. Get the job done.
How does damage work exactly? Like, how do we know how much damage can we take?
It is your total hit points is what it is. So some of you are looking a little bit more worse for wear than others, for sure, because some of you have a lot more hit points. Some of you have double digits. Some of you do not have double digits at the moment.
I do not have a ton, but that's where I'm leaning. Let's just heal the bear, though. Let's heal him, get out of here.
Okay. Yeah. And if that is what you are doing, so you'll move towards the owlbear because you'll have to, with Cure Wounds, I believe you have to touch them to do so. Go ahead and so to cast it is free to cast it, but if you will roll 1d8 and add +3 to it, which is your wisdom modifier.
Okay, so d8. And then you said add the wisdom? Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I rolled a 1.
Okay. But 4 hit points. As you heal this creature too, you see it like look at you with its big like yellow eyes that are like the size of saucer plates. And it recognizes in this moment what you have done. All right. That is your turn. Namara, the creature, we'll say at this moment is free because of the effort that you and Litara have put in. What would you like to do in this moment?
Oh, is that me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So it's free.
Yes.
How do we get it to fight?
It acts on its own initiative, so technically you'll have to wait for it to go. I have its turn in order here.
We're gonna do what we do with my toddler. I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna follow me. So I'm gonna fight, and it's gonna do it.
Okay.
So, okay, I have maul, attack, spear, halberd.
Yeah.
I kind of want to spear it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. So you're going for Grub?
Yeah, I'm sick of him.
Spear him.
Then
Spear him.
roll a d20 for me to see if you hit.
All right, let's see. 9
Plus,
plus 5.
that hits.
Okay.
So roll your damage dice that it indicates for you with your spear.
Okay. Which one?
Let me see. A spear is it's a D6 one-handed and a D8 two-handed, I believe.
Okay.
So you can if you're spearing with two hands, you can roll a D8.
I'm gonna go with the D8, and I rolled a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll add your strength modifier to it.
Which is plus 3.
Nice. Grub is not looking good as you spear him. He has just blasted folks away, or thunderous energy at your companions, and you rush up and spear him. All right. That is your turn. Gonzo, what you doing?
Find my microphone button. I'm whipping out my bow, and
Okay.
I'm taking aim at Grub and letting loose with a ferocious bow, trying to do him in. By the way, I have no idea if knocking out the leader of the goblins will call them all to scatter or cause them all to attack more fiercely. But at this point, we seem to be in full attack mode. I'm weighing in and I'm shooting my bow.
Okay, roll me a d20 plus your attack modifier. So
okay, 11, and my attack modifier with the bow is plus 5 to hit.
Yes, that hits. So roll damage, and you have a longbow, so it's a d8 plus your dex mod.
My d8 is a 2, plus 3.
Okay, so 5. Ooh, Grub takes this arrow, and he is barely hanging in there. He is barely hanging in there. He looks around at the situation that he's gotten in. He thought he was going to take you all out with his thunder wave that he cast. He thought it was a sure win for him. And now in this moment, you see, as you shoot him with an arrow, a bit of like regret in his eyes. All right, Grim, it is your turn. What you doing?
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I've been thinking about it this whole time. Okay, listen, here's what I want to do. What if I'm open to opinions too, but what if I say to him, like, listen, give us your sort of, what's it called? The staff thingy that he has, the waves of energy
the staff.
Why don't we can go ahead and take that, or I can do like a Dracarys situation and just burn them all down, because I have this thing that I can do where I can do fire in a 15-foot cone, and it sounds awesome. So
okay, why not both? Do you want to start with the breath weapon, the fire?
But can we take his stuff first? What stuff do they have?
I would say, so if you want to try and take his stuff, I would let you do an intimidation check. But you know in this moment that he will, if he is intimidated by you and starts to flee, he may be out of your range of your breath weapon. So it kind of depends what you want to do in that moment.
I mean, honestly, it's probably overkill to burn them all down because he is almost dead. And yet I really do want to. Alfredo says send a message, and I'm gonna take that on and say fire. It's fire. Burn them.
Okay. All right. So against Grub.
So are the other ones sitting next to him? It says, okay, so the thing says each creature in a 15-foot cone.
Mm-hmm. They are just outside of that range, so it would either be all three of them or Grub there.
And Grub is almost dead. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Maybe you should take out the other 3.
Yeah, that's the message, right? Like all your whole crew is gone. Grub. Or grub. Okay, wait. I'll take. Like, can we do a vote? Because everyone. Phelan says, is that take them out, Phelan, or is it take him out? And Clark says grub. Oh, sorry. Gonzo says grub.
My vote is for the other three. Because Grub can't really do much at this point. So the next person can maybe finish him off.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, the three.
Okay, let's do the three.
Okay. Roll
fire.
2d6 for me of fire damage. I've already rolled their dexterity saves.
Okay, so for the 2d6, the first one's a 2. Uh-oh. And the second one is a 4.
Okay. So 6 total. 2 of them take it and are badly hurt, and one of them just dives out of the way just in time and only takes half.
Man.
But they are badly hurt, even more so than Grub is. They are not as resilient as Grub is in this moment. And as you release that breath weapon upon them, they all look very frightened. So much so that as you look at them, they look like they're about to bolt, even without Grub giving orders. Awesome.
Great. That's the message, right? That's what we wanted to make a point,
right.
I guess.
And then finally, Litara, what are you doing in this moment? You have Grub there. You have 3 goblins that have been hurt, wounded.
So I have short sword, unarmed strike, and dart.
Yeah, so you could short if you wanted to go against against Grub because he's right next to you.
Okay.
So that would be a D20 plus 5.
Okay, I'll do that. All right.
All right.
D20. 16.
That hits. Go ahead and roll damage. So it's a D6 plus 3.
4 plus 3, so that's 7.
Okay.
So that, yeah.
Yes. So with a cumulative of 30 points, how would Litara like to down Grub?
What are my options?
However you want to describe it. Grub's going down at your short sword. Are you striking him across the chest? Are you trying to what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know what all a short sword is capable of. So just center stab.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, you stab into with this short sword that you wield, and Grub kind of looks over at your party, and you see he goes unconscious in this moment and falls off of your blade onto the ground. As soon as that happens, because that happens before the goblins get to go, the 3 that are there run off into the woods, and you watch as the owlbear, who has been healed up, chases after them, like just rushes and chases after them, and darts off into the woods in that moment. You also hear there must have been goblins hiding in the bushes around you, because you hear skittering around as well as folks have left this area with Grub finished. And as silence kind of takes hold, as you have saved this creature, as you have defeated a foe, and as you set out for the weapon you were originally called to recover, awesome job, guys. You did very well, and that is the end of our time. So everything else has to be epilogue at this point, but that's okay.
Thank you, my companions.
That was really fun.
Thank
What do we
you.
do
Yeah.
at
in? Where's this regular cadence coming in? Because I'm trying to
Exactly.
I enjoyed the quest. We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, it's quite fun. I will, just so everyone knows, I'll share the link again. I usually, there will be some resources and things for both viewers and players that will be available at that resource, and I'll share some additional kind of material there as well when the time comes. So when the time comes being when I kind of, share my notes on this adventure and the other aspects, so that way you guys can see under the hood as well. But yeah, awesome job, players.
A lot of fun. Thank you. You did fantastic leading us through and giving us just the right amount of information. It was
Yeah.
Even with the discomfort, I never felt like completely lost or to that point of frustration that I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, that is good. That is maybe the highest praise.
And that really is, and that is what we want from our learners, from the people that we want to take them down this path, down this journey where we're pushing them a little out of their comfort zone, but never to the point of giving up. So thank you for that. That was great.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, I don't know if we. I was trying to end as close to 4:15 as possible for my local time. So I don't know if Luis, we have to end right now. I'm happy to stick around if that's to answer questions and or talk. But if it's a hard stop, it's a hard stop, and that's the way it's got to be. Sometimes
you don't have to
go.
Yeah, but what I do want to mention is that we are having, because there were so many players that were interested in playing, we are having another session at 3:00 with Christy Kittle, who is going to be running that one. I think Christy is in the audience, so everyone can come back for that one at 3:00. But I just wanted to hear, Keegan, I want to thank you. Oh, go ahead, Clark.
Oh, you just said 3 p.m., but you didn't say what time zone.
Oh, sorry, 3 p.m. Pacific. And it's not going to be you guys. It's a whole different set of players, Clark. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, but you can watch. But and I don't know, but I would like to know, Keegan, like, how do you use role-playing games or even D&D in the stuff that you build as I don't know, I think you work in higher ed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But can you just talk a little bit about that and why this experience is relevant for you?
Yeah, I mean, so my favorite thing about this is it is the source of things like inside jokes. It's the source of shared experience. It's the source of things that I think build healthy and robust communities this time that we've spent in this collaborative storytelling space. And so that is why I think it's important to explore educationally. You may have noticed, right? We dove right in, right? Because learning by doing with the context of what you're after is very important. So I bring a lot of my background in professional development and experience design and those kinds of things into my game playing and game leading as well. So there's lots. I'm excited for this intersection of this online conference because it is my jam for sure.
That's great. And I love also the array of players that we had today. Just everybody had different classes, and then also your experiences as L&D professional are so varied as well. I mean, I'm looking at Deborah, who is a senior leader. Clark, of course, who's like pretty much an icon in our industry. Just everyone. Devin, who is so active. I just love the fact that you're all here. So thanks so much for participating.
Yep.
Yeah, and with that, I don't know. Yeah, Keegan, if you wanted to follow up with it
in the chat, the Slack chat as well, if folks want to reach out. So,
okay,
for sure.
Yeah, and any other last questions, any comments or anything that we can answer? Oh, the next session, it's still here in AirMeet. All you have to do is if you leave this room, just go back to the schedule. You'll see that it's set up at 3:00. And then, of course, Monday and Tuesday. I mean, I have way more sessions planned than I thought originally was going to happen. I think there's something like 13, which is absolutely insane for 2 days, but especially to talk about this particular topic. But I think that all of them are going to be valuable. So, hopefully you'll all try to at least catch a few of those live, and if not, just check out the recordings. All right. Yes. Okay.
Can I ask a really quick, a very specific question about the Dungeons and Dragons, the story that we just did?
Yeah.
Keegan, it felt like this was maybe just a quick detour on what was supposed to be a road towards something else. Is how long do these games usually go on? Like, if we're gonna really find this short, should we real quick become best friends and just meet weekly for the next couple of years to see it through? Like, what are the next steps? No, but for real, like, how does this usually work?
Yeah. I think, right, like some of it comes down to finding the group typically that you want to play with, and finding who is going to take the role of facilitator or dungeon master is kind of those are the hardest kind of initial hurdles, I would say. They being the company that makes Dungeons and Dragons sells starter kits that are actually really good. They're like box sets that come with dice, they come with character sheets, they come with a kind of an opening journey and such that you can follow or not follow, that is very helpful. But I started out playing for free because there are so many kind of free resources and things. I linked a couple of them in that Google Doc that I shared earlier, as well. But you are correct. I had more than one encounter ready to go, because if you all had decided to not engage with the owlbear at all, or the cries of distress from it, then it wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have been what had taken place, and you would have moved on to another part of the story and the adventure. So, and there was also a road where you did not fight the goblins, right? Like, you could have laid things down and walked away. Initially, before we did the luck roll for Grub having known somebody, my plan was they were going to demand stuff from you to let you leave safely. So whether that was gold or your weapons or whatever, that was my initial plan. But that totally changed when that luck roll happened as well.
That's so interesting. This was really fun. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, Keegan's great. And just, I do have a link if anyone's interested, but Jonathan Rock, who's going to be speaking on Monday, I think, he has a podcast. He interviewed somebody who's been playing the same campaign for the last 40 years. He has a group of players that he's been playing with, and they have gone on this adventure and they've been playing for 40 years, which is crazy to me, because I think maybe the longest I've ever been in is maybe a couple years, but it can go on for a really long time. In fact, I was talking to Matt Pierce, who is, the Snagit and Camtasia guy at DevLearn yesterday, and he was telling me about a campaign that he's been running for a couple of years, and it just feels like it's endless to him. But yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
But it's fun, and Keegan's great. So, and I'm sure Christy's going to be wonderful. So jump into the next one if you want to. I mean, it's just, it really is fun. And I think that there is a lot to learn from role-playing games, just D&D altogether, and L&D. I think there is some overlap there. And I'm so glad that Dawn and other folks were able to convince me to pull this together, because this is great. I can't even tell you how much I was like howling and screaming in the background. And I know other people were too, because I was getting the private messages. So all right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thanks again, everybody, for doing this and taking the time out on your Friday. Maybe we'll see you in the next one. If not, hope to see you on Monday and Tuesday. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you, Keegan. Thank you, Louis, for organizing all of this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Deborah.
Yes.
All right, everybody, closing it out. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.